All right, let's talk about something that happens on almost every mega project. There's this hidden risk, right? A silent killer that can totally derail even the most buttoned-up plans. It's called interface management. And honestly, getting a handle on it is the secret to avoiding those project-ending disasters.
Just to give you an idea of the stakes, chew on this for a second. A multi-billion-dollar project was bleeding $10 million every single week. Why? Because their engineering, procurement, and construction teams just weren't connected. That is the kind of catastrophic failure we're talking about. And you know what? It is way too common.
So the big question is, how do we stop these kinds of things from happening, right? How do you make sure every single piece of a massively complex project fits together perfectly without a hitch? Well, it turns out there's actually a formal discipline designed to do exactly that.
And that discipline is called interface management, or just IM for short. Think of it as the strategic playbook for taming the absolute chaos of big projects. It does this by focusing on all those little connection points, the interfaces, where things usually go wrong. So what's an interface? At its core, it's just any point of connection, where different teams or contractors or even different software systems need to talk to each other and exchange information. So interface management is just the formal process of mapping all those points out, controlling them, and documenting everything so absolutely nothing is left to chance.
Now look, this isn't some magic wand you can wave overnight. It's really about a cultural shift. It's about moving away from the chaos of informal emails and random meetings to a really structured system where everyone's roles and responsibilities are crystal clear. You're building a system that's designed for success, not just one that kind of hopes for it.
And there's even a roadmap for this journey. It's called the Interface Management Maturity Model. It literally takes an organization from stage 0, which is basically pure chaos, all the way up to stage 4, where IM is a fully baked-in, data-driven process. And it's pretty simple. The farther you are along this path, the more control you have over your project's destiny. So how do we actually do this? How do we put it into practice? Well, the cornerstone of any really solid IM system is what's called the Master Interface Plan, or MIP. And listen, this isn't just some document that sits on a shelf. It's the project's single source of truth. It's the rulebook that governs every single one of those connection points. The MIP is basically the comprehensive playbook for your project. It defines all the key terms, like interface points, or IPs. Those are the specific connection spots, and interface agreements, or IAs, which are the formal handshakes between different parties. It lays out all the workflows, makes roles super clear, and even gives you standard forms to use. It's the system that guarantees everyone is on the same page, every step of the way. Okay, but does all this, process and planning, does it actually pay off? Is it worth the effort? Well, the Construction Industry Institute, or CII, decided to find out. They dug into the data, they compared projects that had mature IM systems to those that didn't, and what they found is, well, it's a total game changer. So what the study did was create two groups. You had projects with a low level of IM, the ones relying on informal, ad hoc methods. And then you had projects with a high level of IM, the ones using these mature, formal systems. Then they just compared their performance on the stuff that really matters: cost, schedule, and quality. And the results are just staggering. I mean, really. The projects with low IM, they went over budget by an average of more than 18%. Ouch. But the projects with high IM, they didn't just stay on budget, they actually came in under budget with an average cost savings of 3.7%. This isn't just about a little more control, we're talking about a completely different universe of performance. Let me put that a different way. Projects with mature interface management have 5 times better cost performance. 5 times. That's not a small improvement, right? That is a massive, massive leap in efficiency and control. It's literally the difference between a project that sings and one that sinks. And these aren't just abstract statistics, this is real money, real projects. One project saved $25 million just by cutting down on rework and finishing their design 5 months early. Another one saved $10 million because they caught a huge procurement issue before it blew up. And then you have the flip side, that $10 million a week penalty we saw at the beginning. The stakes just could not be higher. So, we've seen how powerful interface management can be. Now let's try and boil it all down to a couple of core principles, things you can actually apply to your own projects. What are the key takeaways that are going to make the biggest difference? Okay, here are 2 principles that can honestly make or break your entire project. First,
Lock down your design and lock it down early. If your design is constantly changing, it just creates this ripple effect of chaos that touches everything. And second, you have to obsess, and I really mean obsess, over the handoff between the design team and the production team. That specific interface is where most projects fail. It's where all these different teams with different skills, maybe even different technical languages, have to come together seamlessly.
So, as we wrap this up, I want you to ask yourself this. Are your projects built on a foundation of hope and crossed fingers, or are they built on a framework of deliberate, structured design? The data is undeniable. One path leads to control, to savings, to success, and the other? Well, the other is a massive gamble, with millions, maybe even billions of dollars on the line. The choice, really, is yours.